Hey everybody, John here with another super exciting story for you. This one goes back a couple years to this really weird neighbor that I had that lived next door behind this fence back here. To give you a little bit of background is these neighbors moved in probably, I don't know, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and seemed fairly normal. When they moved in, I saw them in the front yard, so I walked over and said, "Hey, how's it going? You know, my name's John, blah, 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 blah. How's it going?" Seemed perfectly normal. But months and months later, maybe year later, occasionally I used to go over. They had a picnic table out in the front yard, and I used to go over and sometimes just chat with them. They'd be out there smoking. I don't know if it's like one of those things where they weren't allowed to smoke in the house, if they didn't want to smoke in the house, but that's just what they did, is like hung out in the front yard and drank beer. Sometimes like on a Friday night I'd go over and have a couple beers with them. Everything seemed normal for a while until I had this side light on the side of my house right here. It's got some silver tape on it because I did that because so it won't shine into the neighbors' windows. We'll get into that a little later. But anyway, so like I said, we were friendly and stuff like that, and no major problems until one day this guy Todd mentioned that your light shines in my bedroom window, and the bedroom window would be over here. You can't see it from there. There's a tree there. There's actually a tree there now. On this side there's two bedrooms here, one here and one here at their house. So he's complaining that the light is shining in his window and he can't sleep at night. So I said, well, I guess I could do something to keep it from shining in. He said, nah, it's fine. So months and months go by. And then, so the importance of this light, to explain it to you real quick, is that the side of my house at night used to be dark, and I used to come home at night, and this side yard would be completely dark, no light in here, so I couldn't see. So I would drive my motorcycle back to the backyard to park, and this would be completely dark. I couldn't see anything, so I had to have this light on I just left it on all the time. It's not like I couldn't remember to turn it on and off. So anyway, it was on all day, and apparently it was an issue because one day I came out here and this light was off. So this is one of those lights where you just unscrew the glass part. Like I said, this tape's on here to keep the light from shining to the neighbor's house. Anyway, it shines down, it's a glass thing, so it shines down where it needs to shine. So anyway, I checked this light, and the bulb's loose, which is weird. And I'm like, why is the bulb loose? So I screw it back in, the light comes on. So I'm like, kind of, I'm doing this face, like, how did that get unscrewed? Because the glass thing was on there. Like I said, you take the glass thing off, there's a light bulb inside, then you can change the light bulb, put the glass back on. So the next night, I fixed the light, right? The next night, I swear, I come back. I can't remember if I was working nights then. I don't think so. But I would come out here in the daytime and, walk down the side yard, and it would be off, and I'd be like, well, that's weird. I go check the switch. I undo the thing. The light bulb's unscrewed again. So I'm like, all right, obviously somebody's screwing with this light. And I'm wondering, is it him? Because once he said something, months ago about the light shining in the room. So I'm like, I'm going to give this one more try to see what happens. I didn't have any cameras, so I wish I had cameras because it would have been concrete. So the next day I come out, it's off again. Light bulb's unscrewed. So I wait till my neighbor's home. There was another guy there too. And I went over and asked him, I said, do you know anything about my light bulb being unscrewed? Has your roommate said anything about it? And he's like, no, I haven't said anything. I'm like, huh. So at this point, I think I was pretty pissed. I was really angry because in my mind, the only person it was bothering was him. And he was an alcoholic, and he would get really screwed up. Sometimes when I would hang out over there, he would get super drunk. And I thought, it's got to be him. It's got to be him. So I go over a week later, and I ask his roommate. For some reason, his roommate would be outside at the table, but he wouldn't be out there because he would be somewhere else. So anyway, I go over there again. I was like, hey man, have you heard anything? Did you ask your roommate about it? He goes, yeah, he said he was the one who was doing it. So I said, I just thought to myself, that's unfucking believable. I know the guy. He could have came over and said something to me about it. You know what I mean? Because we had talked, like I said, we had talked about this maybe a year earlier, and I said I could put some kind of something over it to keep it from shining toward the fence over here. You know, it would be an easy fix. But I just like the fact that, you know, maybe at that time I should have just done that automatically. Anyway, so I'm like, okay, so I know who's doing it. I can't like glue the thing on there. You know, I was thinking, you know, what options do I have? You know, like I said, I was really pissed. So I was afraid if I said something to him that I would probably like lose my shit. That's what I was thinking. If I said, hey dude, can you just stop messing with the light? That, you know, I would lose. I just have a habit of losing my shit when I found out people were walking in my yard and tampering with my property. You know what I mean? As I think most people would. Most people would probably lose their shit. So I just chose a different road, which was to, I thought this up and I thought, what if I stick cat shit all over it? If I stick cat, so it's basically you got like a screw here, and you undo the screw and you pull the glass off. So I thought, I'm gonna stick cat shit all over this thing and let's see what happens then. So I have cats, put some gloves on, got a Ziploc bag, got a cat feces sample, and basically smeared it all over this thing so you couldn't touch it without touching cat shit. And I know maybe that's a bizarre idea, but I thought that would keep anybody, wouldn't that keep anybody from touching said property without your permission? If you went up there and grabbed a hold of that and started unscrewing it, and you noticed there's cat shit. I mean, it smelled. It was fresh as cat poop gets. So I'm like, there's no way he's gonna come over here. And I don't know when he used to do it. Like I said, I didn't have a camera out there. I had camera in the front yard, but not in the side yard. I wish I had somehow had like a security camera at the time, but it took place in a short period of time, so it wasn't an option right at that time. So next night, I come out here. The light, this glass thing, I think, was maybe on the ground. And I look on the ground, and the bulb is smashed on the ground, like in pieces. There's that light bulb glass all over, and the bulb's missing. So what I was thinking was happening is this guy got really drunk at night. I mean, by the time he went to sleep, like 10 or 11, he was just blasted, just depending on the time of night. This guy was probably, you know, had a 6-pack or 2. So anyway, I'm just out here scratching my head thinking, he took the light off with the cat crap all over the light bulb and then dropped the light bulb on the ground. And like I said, I can't remember if he actually put the glass back on with the cat crap. I mean, it was smeared all over that thing. And you could smell it just walking up to that. So I'm just bewildered at this point. It's like, is this guy like mentally got a mental deranged crazy that he wouldn't notice immediately that there's cat crap on there. So I come home and he comes over to my house and I think knocks on the door. And he's like, "Hey man, I'm sorry I broke your light bulb, you know. I'll pay you for it." I said, "Why didn't you just come over and talk to me? Why didn't you just say something?" He goes, "Well, you know, it's just I don't remember the exact words he said, but I said, you don't come over and touch anybody's property like that. That's like you know, that's against the law, dude." He's like, "Well, I'll fix it." He was kind of like walking away and was kind of like, "I'll pay you for the light bulb and I'll figure out something. I'll figure out something." I kid you not, dude. Later on that day, he came over and spray painted the glass part black. If you can actually believe this, like it's like it didn't even register with him. So like this part, the front part, it's like he just took black spray paint and spray painted the glass, put it back on. And by that time, I think I had put a new light bulb in. And then I come out and notice it again, and I'm just like, at this point, I'm just bewildered. I just can't fathom that this guy doesn't understand what I just told him is to not mess with my light bulb. So rather than me getting pissed off and doing something that I shouldn't do, like, you know, calling the cops or going over and just like fucking cussing this guy out and be like, you know, "Don't ever fucking touch my light bulb again," I just said, you know, I'm mature enough to not react to this because obviously this guy's got a mental problems and or an alcohol problem or both. So as a result of that, I ended up fixing something like that tape so it wouldn't shine in there, but I didn't have any problems after we went through that issue. But it's like it was beyond me to even imagine that somebody, you know, would come over to your house, turn the I had other lights too. I had back lights and front lights. But those never got touched. It was just a side light issue. Like I said, there's this fence here too. So I was like trying to understand how a light bulb at this height would shine in the window. And that's the other thing I said. I said is, why don't you just get some blackout curtains, dude? I mean, that would solve all your problems. Just a blackout curtain, right? I mean, like, wouldn't a normal person? I mean, that's what I do. I put blackout curtains if I don't want the light in and I don't want to be bothered. It's just like there's something, you know, obviously wrong with this guy. He moved out a couple years back and never had an issue with him. So that was sort of the extent of that issue, and it was just like something I just couldn't believe that somebody would be that crazy. They just couldn't come over and say, like I said, I talk to them, you know, every couple weeks maybe, or, you know, wave to them or something, and it's just beyond me to understand that I had to go through all that just for the guy to come over and tell me, oh, you know, it was bothering me, you know. So like I said, the guy wasn't obviously rational after all that kind of weird stuff. Anyway, I thought that might be a funny anecdote. Just let me know what you think, if you've ever experienced anything like that with neighbors coming over and touching your property and or vandalizing. But it's a story I've been thinking about doing for a while, and I just thought, you know, you'd find that funny. Anyway, we'll see you in the next video. I hope you enjoyed it, and make sure you like and subscribe or whatever. And just a reminder, my second channel, John Swift DIY, I also got that channel. You can go over and watch videos on that channel about making and fixing things. We'll see you guys later. Have a great day.